Hey everybody, this is Jose here. We are about to start in 30 seconds. Sound check, please. A quick message on the chat box would do. It'd be great to have a quick hello or something like that on the chat box so I know that you hear me and we are ready to begin. I'm going to turn on my video stream at the same time so that way we are fully ready to start. But again, appreciate that quick confirmation. How are you, my friends? Good to see you all. I'll put myself here in the bottom right corner so we can focus on the charts, isn't it? Very good. We just reached the top of the hour. Thanks for your confirmation, guys. We are live. So let's begin. Welcome to the session, everybody. Today is November 16, 2020. This is Futures Now. So we're going to be doing some intraday trading using futures, as the name of the session suggests. We're going to be using our UFOs and technology to make our life simpler and approach trading more mechanically, following step-by-step actions without the thinking, without the human emotions, just mechanical approach to trading thanks to the technology that we use. Before we get started, a disclaimer. So please take a look at the disclaimer. I'm just going to highlight it. Just make sure you read it carefully. Every word, please, since this is important information. And that way, when we get to the end of the disclaimer, we will be ready to begin. Very nice. Here we go. We got it. So everybody aware of the plan, and therefore time to close the introduction slide and jump into our TradesTation. Here we go. Nice, perfect. Here we go. So we have our TradesTation running here. To be more specific, and for the ones of you new to the session, we are utilizing a tool called Radar Screen, which is built in TradesTation. Now, more specifically, we are using AutoClimate, which is the tool that you can see here on the top of this column. AutoClimate is the header, isn't it? And AutoClimate basically is a tool that tells you if it's sunny or rainy, meaning if it's time to be a buyer or to be a seller, assuming it's time to trade, because there are times where we have these gray boxes, for example. You can see here, let me get my mouse to the right location. Like, for example, here, you can see those gray boxes, which implies that the climate is not defined and therefore it's not even time to trade. So again, AutoClimate has a key purpose, which is to identify when it's time to trade or not. And if it's time to trade, tell us which side of the market provides a statistical advantage, meaning being a buyer or being a seller. It's more advantageous from that statistical point of view. Of course, AutoClimate could be fine-tuned, AutoClimate could be calibrated, AutoClimate could be applied to different timeframes. So, of course, all of you probably will have different plans, probably different parameters of your plan. Maybe the key reasons for the differences. I guess that most of the things that we do as traders are going to be the same, isn't it? Such as, always using stops, making sure we calculate the right position size. So again, there are certain things that we do that, I would guess, assuming that we are approaching trading professionally instead of gambling with it, which I don't think is the intention of anyone watching this video. So assuming we are approaching trading seriously, we all do certain things which are probably very similar or the same. But then we also, given our account size, the time of the day at which we trade, our personality, how much experience we got, etc. So we may have some rules that are more conservative or more aggressive. And again, my demonstration during the session will imply the use of the 15-minute time frame. That's going to be my favorite approach during the session. But you can also use the 60-minute time frame, the 240-minute time frame, or even other time frames that I don't have on the screen. Maybe you even use, other types of time frames, that you decided. My recommendation, of course, is that you backtest what you do, so you know what to expect. Then you paper trade for a while, so you get to see those results. Then you live trade with a smaller or contained position size. So not only you get to see the results, but also you get to see yourself applying the methodology, because human emotions are a key element of your trading being successful or not. And it's not the same to trade paper money than real money, apart from the fields, which are going to be different too. But your impact, the perceived impact, and the impact of human emotions is going to be certainly very different. And therefore, I would recommend that you take that methodology, that set of rules, and you practice, with limited live capital. And when you feel very confident and everything is good, so then you may consider starting increasing the size. Okay, so again, approaching things in a proper way. First, having a plan. Second, the plan is adapted to you. Third, backtest the plan so you know what to expect. Then paper trade or trade with a small size with real capital and then go live. Okay, that would be kind of like the process. Very good. Good to see you all, Boyan. Good to see you, Tony. Very nice to have you in the session as well. Again, just talking about generics at this moment in time. Before we start with specific trades, I also wanted to point. I briefly mentioned that my preference is going to be to trade the 15-minute time frame, and it's not because the 15-minute time frame is magic or anything like that. Okay, the same thing I do with the 15, you can do it with the 10, with the 5, you can do it with the 30, with the 20, with the 60, with the you name it. But in my case, I have selected 15, 60, and 240. And 15 is going to be my preference because typically, not always, but typically, the lower the time frame, the more the trading opportunities. And since we got 45 minutes to be together in the session looking for those trades, so I would like to go ahead and go, practice as much as possible for you guys, so I can demonstrate as much as I can the methodologies. Okay. Also, the lower the time frame, typically you enjoy a lower risk per contract. Typically, unless you trade in a very volatile time, which we had a lot of those times, earlier in the year. But normally, the lower the time frame, the less the risk per contract, and therefore, for the ones of you in learning stages, which I guess is going to be a bunch of you, so you can go ahead and allow yourself to trade small size, which I just recommended, isn't it? Apart from trading paper money, when you start live, it is recommended to use small size or maybe a greater size, but use micro E-minis instead of E-mini contracts, to contain your risk. And talking about containing the risk, the lower the time frame, the more contained is going to be per contract. Okay, so in most of the cases, so that's why this is going to be my priority. Because we got 45 minutes when we do the sessions, and that's my priority is to be there for you, adapted to you, putting myself in the shoes of a person who is learning, where your case maybe you're more experienced, so you can certainly take the same thing I'm doing with a larger time frame or a larger size or both, and you get my point, isn't it? Very good. So let's begin. Okay, and first we got a near sensible alert. Okay, so let me zoom in. So near sensible alert here on the 15-minute time frame with the YM, which is the Dow Jones Futures. The climate is not gray. The climate is blue, meaning the climate is confirmed. And being blue, it means we are being suggested to be a buyer. So let's go ahead and open the Dow Jones, the YM 15 workspace. So we get to see the charts, and we can go ahead and plan the whole trade and see if the setup is giving us a go ahead or we have a no go. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so I guess that I was playing with the scaling here. Here we go. So what do we have? Okay, so again, I'm just going to zoom in, froze the screen. So when it comes to the 15-minute time frame of the YM, we are talking about a confirmed climate, so it's blue and thick. We have been in this climate for 3 candles. The climate will update in 8 minutes from now, which is going to be 11:15 a.m. in New York. So, but for now we are in a candle number 3, where statistics suggest that this candle will tend to propagate around 9 candles. Okay, so again, 3 out of 9. Certainly, we are at the beginning of a new climate that is, propagating. And based on those probabilities, certainly we are not late to the party. It's a good time to plan on the trade. And of course, we need to have the other rules met to approve the trade. But for now, we do have a green light to continue. So knowing that we want to be a buyer and knowing that our reference point is 81.0, 29.81.0. So we are now looking at the upper part of the chart and looking at 81.0, okay? And we do have a UFO right there, which is enveloping this value of, the bottom part is 81, okay? So this value is being enveloped by that UFO. That UFO, visually speaking, at least, seems to be, I just froze the screen, by the way, seems to be a bit challenged with the price diving inside very aggressively. And by the way, the UFO is gone. So again, if you have got into the trade, well, maybe you're in. But given the fact that we are planning the trade right now and the UFO is gone, so certainly no trade for now. So what we want to see is a new UFO to form. Okay, and if at any moment in time we have a UFO forming here or here or here on the right, on the left, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and replan this trade. For now, we don't have that. Okay, but again, it's not a bad idea to start getting ready, because in 5 minutes and a half, 5 minutes and a half, we're gonna have a new update on the climate. Assuming the climate will continue going up, that EMA is likely going to be updated, and instead of 88, it's probably going to be a bit higher than that. And again, if a new UFO forms, we may have to rush into getting into this trade. So what do I like to do in these cases to not to miss my trade if I have to rush? So what I like to do is I like to look for where my target would be, because sometimes it takes time to find a target. You may have to load more data on the charts. So I'm going to look at where my target would be on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, and notice that right here, right now, even if I zoom out, I don't have any red UFO, in front of me. I'm loading 500 bars here. Okay, so I want to show you that if I was to go for let's say a monthly time frame. So this is the candle we are talking about, and basically that candle in October, okay, is basically the highest price point. Okay, so the question is, if I go back to my 15-minute time frame and I load data all the way to, let's say, beginning of October, so first date October 1st. You see, this is what I'm talking about. It takes time sometimes to find a target, so it's a good practice to get your targets and get your things organized, and then if you have to rush, then you can rush. Okay, and again, if I now zoom out and go back down, so notice that again, now that I have loaded information all the way to beginning of October, still I have no red UFO. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we are in those rare situations, okay, well, not so rare, depending on how you want to look at it, where the market is making all-time high or about to continue making all-time high, and there is nothing that seems to be the reason for the market to not to do that. And therefore, the best way to approach setting your target in this case would be to simply go ahead and trail stop. Okay, just trail stop, trail stop, trail stop. Use a safety target where you remove the risk of the trade quickly, but then from there, just trail stop, trail stop, trail stop, and see how far it goes. Okay, so that would be the approach to our trade. So we just need to find out and see if a UFO is going to form here or not, and then we can consider checking this trade or not. Now, something a bit concerning, and not majorly concerning, but is that we got red UFOs that formed that were not there before. And again, when the climate updates in 3 minutes from now, we may have a red dot, meaning that the climate may have changed. And if the climate may have changed, then everything I said that doesn't apply, because of course, if the climate changes, instead of being a buyer, now you want to be a seller. So it's a complete different story, and we will need to start again. Okay, but again, we're gonna just watch this for just a little extra time, as we see this climate update in 2 minutes and a half time. In the meantime, during those 2 minutes and a half, I'm going to go back to see if we have something else. Well, it seems that the Russell also is giving us an alert. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and load the Russell chart, which is likely going to look similar because it's also an equity index market. And as I load that chart, we'll see what the opportunity is, and maybe we take the trade on the Dow, maybe we trade on the Russell, maybe both, maybe none. So we'll have to analyze that, and I'll make comments to have this well explained. Okay, cool. Again, back to the Dow. Yeah, so it's pushing strongly to the upside again, but with no signs of green UFOs so far. So again, back to the Russell, and looking at the Russell, notice how from a climate point of view, we have a similar situation. 3 blue dots, thick dots, so it's a climate confirmed climate. Statistics suggest 8, so certainly a good time to be a buyer, and our reference point to be a buyer is 78.77. So 78.77, it's kind of like right here. Okay, so that would be 78.77. Yeah, that one is a bit higher, so that would be the one. Okay, that would be the one, even though I do need to see the update in less than 1 minute time. That UFO there may kill our trade here on the Russell. Let me see if that same pile of orders that show up on the Russell is happening on the Dow, and yes, indeed it is. So the bottom part is 299. Sorry, 297. The top part of this is 296. That's good. And the top part of this is 296. That's good. So we can have a stop at 297 with an entry at the top of this UFO, which is 81. Yeah, that's good, my friends. So I'm going to place a trade here with an entry at 81. Stop being 77. Sorry, 97. Okay, 97. So my safety target is going to be here. And then the final target, which I have it here, I'm just going to cancel it because remember we said on the Dow, we're just going to trail stop, trail stop, trail stop. Okay. So again, here's the trade. We just had an update. As the update took place, we can see now we have 4 dots instead of 3. The new value for the update is about the same, 81.5. 81.5 right now, it's slightly above 81.0, which is our entry. But again, the current value of the Dow is 82.9. So if the Dow comes back down to our entry, I'm pretty positive the EMA will be pointing at 81.0 or below. Therefore, I am looking at this as indeed a valid entry. And if you want to be a bit more generous with the trade, you can certainly go for that UFO in the middle, which has a starting point at 81.1. So in order to kind of not to miss the trade, and given the fact that we are talking about one tick difference, I'm just going to move my entry to 81. That will imply I need to drag my stop back down one more and my safety target one higher. Okay, so that way they are equal distance. So again, I'm entering one tick above the UFO on the right, which happens to be exactly the inner circle of the UFO in the middle. So trying to balance out my precise entry with not missing the trade, with not increasing too much my risk, so my safety target stays close. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have it. Now, of course, the Dow is pushing now. It's looking like it's going to the sky, so we're going to have to use something important. It's called patience. We don't want to chase it. We need to wait for the Dow to come back to us and then take the trade. In the meantime, quick look at the red screen one more time to see if more opportunities are available. But also, I need your feedback at this point. You guys have been quite silent. I know, I'm aware that sometimes, most of the times, let's admit that I do talk quite fast. And therefore, you may be busy replicating what I've done on your computer screen and stuff. And I understand at this time that I didn't have much interaction in the session, but this is the time where I need a bit of confirmation from you guys when it comes to, yes, Jose, I did understand what you did, I got it, I get the trade set up, I get why you're doing it the way you're doing it. And again, if you're in the trade and you want to share with me, that's great too. If not, it's fine, but at least I do want to make sure that you are with me, so when the session is over, okay, and until you are back tomorrow with Pedro, or next week with Boyan doing more of the futures trades, you can continue the practice on your own by yourself because you understood what I have done. Okay, so again, very important for me to get a bit of feedback from you. Thank you so much, Tony. This is appreciated, my friend. Very nice. Cool. So again, we got the order there. So again, checking the red screen. What else do we have? Well, we have another alert popping here, but with crude oil, CL. Okay, but again, if I zoom in, you can see how, while we have a near sensible alert, which is exactly what we're looking for, notice the gray box, and that means that we're going to have to use patience for 15 minutes with crude oil to hopefully have a climate confirmation into the next candle, which right now is not confirmed. Okay, that's why the box is gray, and therefore, well, trading will not be crazy because there is a directional component. You can see the row is red color. My approach to using AutoClimate is quite conservative, and when I see the climate not confirmed, then I basically don't trade. Okay, so I'm gonna wait until that moment in time. So the Russell still pointing at a near sensible alert. So since we got a trade on the Dow, and there is nothing to do for now, we're just waiting. So then I'm just gonna move to the Russell and do the same exercise and see if a trade is available. And the answer is no. Okay, the answer is no, and let me explain why. So the reference price for the Russell, it's 79.19. The climate is confirmed, all of this is good, but when you look at the reference point of 79.19 and you look at this on the chart above, so notice how 79.19 is below that UFO and there is no other UFO below. Okay, and 79.19 is also below that same value, which is the same 79.80, and again same story, there is no UFO below there is no UFO enveloping 79.19. Okay, so we don't have the same setup that we had on the Dow with the Russell, and therefore it's waiting time. Again, many times you do see a market like that and like, oh, no trade for me, but next thing you know, you have a huge push. Next thing you know, 3 minutes from now, you have a beautiful UFO that just formed there, and next thing you know, now you have a trade. So again, you never know. The markets will surprise us all the time because they have life by themselves. It doesn't matter what you feel or perceive or think you see or believe you see or want to see or decide that you see, or whatever the market is doing its thing, no matter if you trade today or you don't trade today. So therefore, it's all about being adaptable and being, humble to accept whatever the market gives us. If there is a trade, thank you very much. If there is no trade, let's be patient until a trade appears. Okay, cool. So back to looking at the chart with the Dow, and I also see some comments there from Elen. So I would like to take a look at that while we're waiting, and then I'll go back to the red screen as well. Okay, so Elen says, good morning, Jose. My climate is confirmed on TradingView for crude oil. Why would that be different? So Elen, this is very surprising because we are talking about crude oil, which is a regulated market and centralized, and therefore the market data that you have on TradesStation and TradingView should coincide 100%. So I am thinking that it's either maybe you're using a different contract. Okay, maybe you're using a different contract instead of the continuous contract, which is adjusted as I'm using at CL in my case with TradesStation. Or maybe you're using the free data from TradingView, which for futures markets has delay since exchanges provide free data with delay. And if the data is real time, then it's chargeable. So I'm not sure if you're using real time data or you have a delay. If you have a delay, that's the reason why you may have a different reading than me. If not, just make sure you're using continuous, okay? Because then we should have the same. So let me bring it to the screen so I can see it. So CL, okay, so we have futures. We have crude oil, so CL1 exclamation mark. So if I load it, okay, and we are looking, actually I need to change this to a 15-minute time frame, so I'm changing it here below. So right here you can see how this climate is confirmed to the upside, but wait a minute, okay, wait a minute, because if you are looking at this particular candle, my closing time here is 11 a.m. New York time. In other words, I got 15 minutes delay or something like that in this chart. So why? Because at this moment in time, the way I have it set up, if I'm not mistaken, I am using the free data from TradingView. Okay, so if I want to use the real-time data, it's either I subscribe to the real-time data with a TradingView, and then it's going to be real-time, or instead of being connected to paper trading, I want to connect to my TradesStation account, okay, which that would imply that I need to do some login process on my other computer screen, I guess. So if you don't mind, let me do this. I may also need to use a phone app to validate my login, unless, yeah, exactly. So 1 second. Almost there. Here we go. So I'm logging in. See, I got it. So now I am connected to TradesStation. Okay, I am connecting to TradesStation. Therefore, now my data is live, and notice now how the climate is not confirmed. It's a thin dot, and it's just because I'm having live data now. Okay, so again, that I would guess that's going to be the reason. Of course, another reason could be that maybe you have been playing with parameters. I don't think so, Elaine, because I know you're experienced, but in general, just if this is happening to anyone else. So maybe you have been playing with the inputs, and of course, if you change the inputs, then you change the outputs, right? So that could be the reason. Okay, but oh, look at that. Ellen, I am so sorry. I'm just reading your second message about this card, the question. You were on the wrong time frame. Okay. Well, anyway, you know what? I think it's still a good point. And, I'm telling you, this happens, to everybody from time to time. So good one. Okay. We got to see a little bit more about TradingView in this case. Okay. So what do we have? Okay, so the Dow has been pushing hard a new UFO form that is not favorable to our trade. We still have 5 minutes to go before we reach 11:30 in New York, and therefore, the location of our EMA, the location of our UFO, all of this is still valid for us to accept the trade. So again, nothing to be done in the next 5 minutes. Just keep waiting on these Dow Jones. Of course, the fact that we have a green UFO in an up climate, so there is a possibility here for the Dow to pick up speed from that UFO and never come back. So that's why I said it's not too favorable. It is favorable to confirm that the climate is blue, but not so favorable for us to get a fill. Okay, we'll see what happens in the end. Those unfilled orders maybe just be a little bit of profit taking from shorts or whatever that is, and maybe here we go. Look at that. It doesn't seem they were that impactful, and at least on the chart on the right, they're gone. Still a few orders are left in the middle, so we'll see if we come back to our entry. Okay, so I'll come back to this chart in a minute. What about the Russell? Well, the Russell, there is nothing really. We are still waiting for those green UFOs that never showed up. So back to the red screen to see if anything new has appeared. Okay, so not on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, and notice that I'm gonna zoom in on the 60. So on the 60, you could be trading the TY, you could be trading the US, which are the bond markets, 10-year note, 30-year bonds, right? So those are in a confirmed down climate, and we could be planning trades on those. Again, we only got like 4 minutes or so for the change of climate, or 3 minutes and a half. So I'm just going to stick with the 15-minute time frame and see if the trade with the Dow Jones take place, and see if I can plan another trade and be a bit more active, as I said at the beginning of the session. If I cannot, then, of course, we're not going to be crossing our arms until 11:45 New York time. We will certainly dive into other time frames and look for opportunities. So at least we can get some practice in, which of course it's always my intention, while we have no control about it, because the market is the boss, not us. And I wish I could move price just because I say, but it is obviously not the case. And that's why management of emotions and patience is such a critical component of trading well and trading profitably. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna take a sip of water, if that's okay. So we have 3 minutes to go, a little less than 3 minutes to go until the update on the climate. The update on the climate may reconfirm or basically invalidate the trade on the Dow. So we need to wait for that. And then, of course, the update on the climate will happen to all markets we have on the red screen. So that update may open up for new trading opportunities, such as maybe the one with the crude oil that was it was a non-confirmed climate, but then it may confirm. Okay, so we're gonna see that in just a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a sip of water, as I said. And you guys, if you have any other question right now, please go ahead and type it. So that's perfect time to take other questions before I get into rushing mode, looking for the next trade. Thank you for that, everybody. Very good. So we got a little bit less than 2 minutes now. So again, we're like 3 points away from the entry. So, I mean, we could certainly get there. It's feeling a bit far, given also the time of the day. This is a time of the day where things start getting a bit slower in New York, isn't it? With the traders going to lunch. Again, that's to me, it's a funny way to say it, because it's not like traders go to lunch and everything stops. Computers are doing all the trades. So, but that's why you read most trading books, isn't it? Certainly, there is a little bit of lack of activity, especially from certain fund managers that are fundamentalists and things like that. It doesn't mean it's a bad time to trade, but, you often experience a little bit of a reduction in the speed of price movement. Okay, Tony, how did you create the AutoClimate in the bottom of your screen? You mean how did I put the AutoClimate all the way there in the bottom, or how did I get that horizontal chart in the bottom? Okay, so are you talking about question number 1, which is AutoClimate in the bottom, or are you talking about question number 2, which is having a chart in the bottom? The chart. Got you. Yeah. So the way I have done it, I mean yeah, we still got 30 seconds to go. So the way yeah, the chart. So the way I like to do these things is, I start with a blank workspace on TradesStation, and then, I add a chart. Where are you, my friend? And then, I just copy the chart and I just paste many units of those charts. And then I go ahead and arrange all. And, if I want more charts, I just add more. And, I do it to a point where all those charts are well organized. And like, for example, you can see here in the bottom part. So if I kill those charts in the bottom part, so that chart here, okay, is now well adjusted. It has a nice proportion and is located in the bottom portion, right? So you could now maybe just move it here, and then you extend that one, and then you keep playing with that, and maybe you don't want those, so you remove them, and then you extend them like that, and you can see how now I'm kind of getting to the same setup I have on my screen, isn't it? So again, you could just add charts and just copy paste and organize them manually, but often the windows are not touching perfectly and things like that, and I'm a bit picky when it comes to the look and feel of my workspaces. So that's what I do. I basically copy paste many charts, then sort them with the arrange all, and then just play with which ones I kill and how I readjust the whole thing. Okay, so Tony, that was a bit quick. I need to go back to the Dow Jones to see what's going on. Hopefully that was the answer you were looking for. If you want me to explain that to a deeper level or slower, let me know, and I'm happy to do that. So what do we have? So we're gonna have to cancel this trade. And the reason why we're going to cancel the trade with the Dow is because notice how now with the new update, now we got 5 candles, okay, into this climate. Notice how the value, our reference value keeps going up. In this case is 82. And of course, 82 something is all the way there. So basically, our entry should be almost where the safety target is, okay? So we don't have a UFO that is enveloping that EMA any longer, okay? Therefore, it's time to cancel the trade on the Dow. Even though we did use 15 minutes of patience, the Dow didn't come to us, and we are not chasing the market, and therefore, we're not doing that, okay? But the chart analysis has a security, and AC is the study. Yeah, correct. So again, if I was to go back to what I've done before, right? So I had the chart, okay, and then I copied and I pasted many units of those charts, so they become of a smaller size and they're well organized, and I can go ahead and arrange all and save them however I want, okay. And here, for example, would be the bottom chart we were talking about. And now that you have this chart here, so you can just go ahead and studies, okay, go to add study, and you can then look for AutoClimate, okay, and add it, and then you will have it here, okay. Okay, so it's loading. It's going to take a little bit of time. Here we go. So now you have it, okay. So you have the AutoClimate there. Okay, so that's what it is. Of course, the backgrounds, the settings. Actually, in my workspace, as you can see, I like to use dots both for the chart as well as dots for the AutoClimate. So how did I do that? Very simple. You double click on the candles, you go to the style, and instead of using candlesticks, I am using here dots on close, and then you can make them thicker if you want to, and basically play with the colors, and now you have dots all over the place, above and below. And again, it's all about customization, okay? One way to save you a lot of time for you and everybody, but that is showing the YM, not the AutoClimate. Well, it's showing the YM, it's showing the AutoClimate applied to the YM, Okay, so this AutoClimate, okay, this AutoClimate below, it's applied to that symbol. If I change the symbol and I use, the euro US dollar, right, or I use crude oil or whatever I load, I will have a new AutoClimate loading, which applies to this new symbol I just loaded, which for whatever reason is taking time to plot properly. Okay, here we go. So now I have the AutoClimate, and that AutoClimate is now applied to the euro. Okay, so the AutoClimate is always applied to the upper part of the chart that you have here. In any case, one shortcut, I'm just going to close this workspace now. So one shortcut is that you send us an email to support@tradictive.com, and we'll be more than happy. A support team will be delighted to send you the workspaces that we use. Okay, so you can just have them on your computer the same way I use them myself, and then if you want to do other tweaks or other visual changes, you can always do that. Cool. So let's go back to the radar screen. We still have a few minutes left. Let's see if we can find another trade. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Crude oil did confirm the S&P 2 and the Russell and the Dow. Okay, so let's load two more charts. The S&P and crude oil. Okay, Anthony, hopefully you got the answer. You got perfect. Wonderful. And if not, just feel free to keep asking, or also, via email, if you want to send a screenshot of what you have on your computer, and we can assist you better as well. So it's all good. Okay, that is what you guys are supposed to do, asking questions. And of course, the king today is the futures markets, and we want to trade futures. But of course, for you to be able to practice and replicate what I'm doing, you need to have your confidence on your trade setup and your trading tools. So make sure you ask questions. Okay, so now I'm about to look at crude oil. Notice that I went to barchart.com. I am looking at energies. Okay, and I am gonna click on crude oil. And why am I doing that? Well, because crude oils or commodities in general, they have many expiration dates, and you want to make sure you use the right one. So now take a look at what's happening right here, right now. That website is suggesting that using the Z or Z contract is the right contract to be used. Okay, and that contract is currently providing 240,000 contracts per day of trading volume and 191,000 of open interest. Notice that the open interest is already greater on the F, okay, on the one that is 2021, even though the volume is lesser on the F and still greater on the Z. Okay, so again, in a perfect world, you want to trade futures contracts where both open interest and volume, as I said, both are the greatest. But in this case, you have greater open interest with the F, but greater volume with the Z. So which one do we pick? Well, we're going to go with the Z, given the fact that we are doing intraday trading. So we're going to be in and out during the day, and there is more volume on the Z. So we are likely going to suffer less slippage if we do that. Okay. So we have the Z loaded. Okay. And therefore, we are ready to begin planning on this trade. So let me go ahead and go back here. So what do we have? Actually, futures clients trading December crude oil. So probably actually that message has to do with the fact that rollover is happening soon. But anyway, for us intraday traders, we're going to be happy with the Z. And this is a down climate, as we saw on the radar screen. It is confirmed now. It's two candles out of what statistics would suggest. 6 to 7, let's call it 7, is a normal thing to happen. So certainly we are not late to the party. And our reference value is 41.58, which is somewhere here below 60, somewhere here below 60, somewhere here below 60. Now, what do we see? Well, actually, we see nothing. Okay, we are looking for red UFOs located to where those values are, but we don't have those. Okay, the UFOs we have are higher, meaning they are not enveloping our reference value. Therefore, it's time to wait on crude oil. Like we said earlier for the Russell, we have the same situation with crude oil. We have to wait for a UFO to form in the right location. And again, this could happen anytime, but we have to wait. Okay, so patience first. I'm gonna check the Russell one more time, see if anything has changed. So the Russell is moving up and no green UFO. The YM is moving up, but no green UFO around 82.7. So no trade on the YM, no trade on the Russell for now, waiting time, waiting time. No trade on crude oil, waiting time. The only difference is that with the crude oil, we're looking for a red UFO. With the YM and the Russell, we're looking for a blue, actually I should say a green UFO. And then when looking at the S&P, what do we have here? Well, actually with the S&P, if I had been a bit quicker, this UFO did qualify as an entry, okay? And if I had been quicker, so you could have entered here with a stop below and a safety target here, and it looks to me like we would be reaching safety target now. But I was not even looking at the chart, so certainly I missed this trade. Now the UFO is still there, so the question is it still okay for us to take the trade if the S&P comes back down? Okay, and the answer is yes. The fact that the UFO is still there means that the setup is still valid. So again, let's review the whole thing, make sure that we are not rushing into anything. By the way, a new UFO just formed. So now we have grouped UFOs. So let's take a look at the whole thing. So what do we have? Climate on the S&P is confirmed. 5 out of 9. Certainly, we are not late to the party. It's a good time for us to enter a trade. Reference value for the trade, 1741. With 1741, it's right there. Actually, 1741 falls inside the bottom UFO. Since the top UFO has an ending price, which is 17.5, well, 41 is indeed below 50, right? It's indeed below 50, and therefore the key UFO for the trade really is the one below, not the one above, even though the one above, it's a nice one to see because basically it's telling you that the climate is propagating with more on-field orders being added. We can also see a UFO that just formed on the right. Okay, my screen is frozen right now. When I do the drawing, I always freeze my screen. I guess this is nothing new for you guys. But again, I want to point at this because that was not there before. Now it's there, but again, same story. The bottom part of this UFO is above our reference value. So again, back to what I said, this is the key UFO for this trade. Okay, so again, valid setup to do the trade. So let's look for a target on the S&P. So turning on AutoUFOs. Do we have any target? Okay, do we have any targets? Again, zooming out, zooming out, zooming out. I got 500 candles loaded, okay? And right now, even though we do have market data above price, the algo, the app does not identify anything that is serious on-field orders above price. And let's be pragmatic. I could go ahead and load more data and look, at UFOs higher or something like that. But the reality is that, we are planning on an intraday trade. And, if I catch a trade around here, let's call it, I buy at 20, right? And I take a profit, let's say 60. That's a 40-point move. I'm pretty sure most of us will be very happy with a trade like that. And again, could the price of the S&P go higher than that? Of course it could, but, in an intraday trade, it would probably be already quite far, isn't it? So again, we need to be out of the trades before the market closes at 5 p.m. New York time. And therefore, it doesn't make sense in an intraday trade scenario to set targets which are so far away. You could, and sometimes you'll reach that. You'll reach there, but often is the recipe to kind of waste your time and add a little bit of frustration to your trades because you have this amazing target and you never reach it, right? So again, what's going to be my suggestion? Well, my suggestion in a case like this is going to be exactly the same as I had on the Dow, which is we're just going to be trailing stop, and that's it, okay, and see how far we go. So this UFO right here starts at 18, so from 18 to 16.5, okay, you can see the values here. So 18 to 16.5. So my stop is going to be 25, okay, and my entry 18. So let's do that. So 18 is right there. Stop 16.25. Okay, so we are talking about 2 points. Yeah, that would be here if I'm not mistaken, right? No, actually, 2 less. Here we go. That would be the location for the safety target. Okay, so entry 18, okay, which is right here. Stop goes right below, and safety target equal distance. Okay, now by default, TradesStation added a second target located at 23. I'm just going to go ahead and as I did earlier on the Dow, I'm just going to cancel it, okay? Because we just said we're going to trail stop, and see how far it goes, okay? Cool. Okay, so we have the setup on the S&P futures. I want to review the whole thing, so I'll start with the crude oil. Do we have any red UFO that form? No red UFO that form. Okay, so we are going to have to wait. So we have the S&P. The Russell did create a UFO for us, but it's not a valid trade. Actually, it is a valid trade. Actually, it is. That one here is not, because it ends at 81 and our reference value is 80.20. Okay? But that one on the left, it's a valid one because the reference value is 80.20 and the bottom part is 80.10, meaning that that UFO on the left does envelop our reference value, which is 1780.20. Okay, so in this case, we do have that enveloping setup that we are always looking for. Now, I'm gonna pass on the trade on the Russell, and let me explain why. Okay, let me explain why. By the way, let me check on the S&P because it seems that price may be approaching. So, yeah, so we may get a feel. We're still 2 points away. For a minute, I thought we were. Oh, okay, I know what it is. Is that we just reached 11:45. So okay, so let's do this. 11:45. So the value of the EMA is 17.80. Yeah. So our entry is 18. Okay. So our entry being 18 and 17.70 being the reference value, you can see that UFO is still the relevant UFO for us to take the trade. So nothing changes. The trade is still valid for the next 15 minutes. Okay, guys. We will conclude the session in just a sec. So you'll be taking the trade by yourself, but just know that during the next 15 minutes, this trade still meets our trade setup and rules. So you could certainly go ahead and practice that one, okay? Now, back to the Russell, I want to complete what I was saying. So I'm sorry to go back and forth, but I just don't want to miss anything for you guys. So I'm going to pass on this trade, and I have two reasons to pass. Number one, the current value for the Russell is 85. So if price goes from 85 down to 82 something or 83, that's going to bring my reference value from 81.3 to down to probably even below that value. Okay, even below that value. So while currently, as I look at the screen and I froze it, you see 81.3 being enveloped by that UFO. Okay, while you see that, the reality is that at the moment of the entry, it may not be the case. So you may have to watch this manually, and also, that UFO is quite large, which carries a lot of risk. So I'd rather take the trade on the S&P, which seems to be a much healthier trade. And by the way, we are 2 ticks away. So we may get, here we go. We just got a fill. I love it. Perfect. We just got fill before the session is over. Perfect. Okay. So quick one before we go. So I would like to talk about time stops. Okay, you're gonna have to do that yourself, guys, because the session is over, really. But I want to give you the rules. Okay, so we just got filled on that candle. That candle has a closing time at 48. Okay, and you want to give yourself 2 more candles, so 1 and 2. Okay? So one here, 10:50, 10:52. That is New York time. Okay, so sorry, that's Chicago time. So New York time is 1 hour more. Okay, and basically, so if you reach 10:52 and the candle closes and you have not reached your safety target, so what are you supposed to do? Well, you are supposed to just get out, okay? Manually cancel this trade. I should not say cancel, I should say close it, okay? You cancel an order, you don't cancel a trade. So you close a trade. You close a trade or you cancel an order, okay? So, so far, we have a little bit of a reaction to the climate and so on, and a little bit of a push to the upside. So thank you very much. But again, we are still 3 ticks, 1 point away from the safety target. So we are not out of risk yet. And in the meantime, time stop applies. Okay. So if we don't reach 1975 in those 3 times 2-minute candles, then time stop applies and you want to close the trade manually. Okay. So I'll just have a last look at the Russell. We already said at the Dow. Yeah, nothing on the Dow. So nothing on the Dow. So close the workspace. Nothing on the Russell. So close the workspace. The S&P doing its thing. crude oil, no red UFO that form in the end, at least not for now. So close the workspace. Okay, so again, we are in this trade with the S&P and just letting the on-field orders, the climate to do its thing. Of course, there is a little bit of a fight, isn't it? And you can see the price going up, going down, human emotions kicking in. It is critical that you apply your mechanical rules, okay, and you don't fall into the trap of your own emotions. And now you decide, oh my God, I'm just gonna close it. I'm scared, or oh my God, let's move my target further away because it looks very good. Again, all of this will be breaking the rules, okay. And while you may have some of those thoughts kick in, make sure you manage all that thinking so you don't make any of those mistakes that would be led by emotions, okay? You can see how price now is going down, it's teasing you, so you may be like, oh, what should I do? Should I close it? Again, just follow the rules, and the rules, my rules, okay? Yours could be different for sure, but my rules are 3 candles on the 2-minute time frame, and therefore 10:53. Okay, so it's the key time. So since we only got 2 minutes left, really, or 3 minutes left to 10:53, I'm just gonna wait with you guys. Okay, out of supporting you, for the ones of you that you are in this trade and practicing it. So I'm just gonna stick with you, and in 3 minutes time, it's either we'll congratulate ourselves by reaching the safety target, and then I will leave you alone, trailing stop all the way, or in 3 minutes time, we will close this trade manually for either a profit or a loss, a small loss, a small profit, whatever it is. It will be time to close the trade. Okay. In the meantime, you guys, let me know how the session went. I always forget. Let me not forget today. Thumbs up if that's okay, guys. If you guys enjoying those sessions and you are growing, this is supporting you in a proper way and so on, so give us a thumbs up. That's appreciated. It also helps with the YouTube videos and all that stuff, and as I said, it is indeed appreciated. I often forget, so since we got a little bit of waiting time, maybe we can use that time to just click thumbs up. By the way, if you think that this is not helping you, so gives us a thumb down, it's fine too. But I would really like to ask that if the sessions are not satisfactory to you, please go ahead and send an email to us explaining what is it that you would like to see that would help you better. Because if you click thumbs down but you don't phrase what your needs are, so well, I would get it that you are not too happy with the sessions, but I would not know how to help you better. Okay, so make sure you do that. Okay, so come on, Mr. S&P, define yourself. We got 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. It'd be nice to see a push, so we are out of risk, and that's it. And then you can continue with the practice of this trade. And if not, we'll just 1 minute time is what the amount of time left. Actually, wait a minute. No, it's right now. Right now is the time left. The new candle just started, so time to close the trade. So we are out. I don't know how I did the math here. So 10:52 is the time when that candle closed, and therefore, we are out of the trade, as you can see in that new candle that just started right here. Okay. So out of the trade, unfortunately, we didn't have the push all the way to the safety target. That may be the beginning of a climate change, and therefore it is wise to get out, collect a little bit of profit that we made. Is really, it's coffee money. It's nothing, impactful, but certainly it's a good thing to get out of a trade that is not proving itself. Okay, a trade that is proving itself would be moving in the direction of the climate. And in this case, it was not. Notice how we got multiple candles in a row there, and nothing really happened. So anyway, everybody, hopefully this was a good experience for you all. You guys take care. I will see you soon. Stick with us. Tomorrow you'll have Pedro doing futures trading. You don't want to miss it. And talking about futures as well. Boyan next Monday, super Boyan, so don't miss it either. And I'll be back this week as well with futures, as well as when you look at the calendar, you will see that we also have Forex with Bert tomorrow, as well as Forex with Andrew on Thursday, and Solid as a Stock with Becky on Friday too. Okay, so busy week, you guys. We'll see you around. Keep up the good work, and send your questions if you have any. Take care, everybody. Be safe, be disciplined, trade well, my friends. Market is watching you. Follow the rules, follow the discipline. Okay, take care. Bye bye.